South Africa take on England in the first ODI in Bloemfontein on Friday. Kickoff is at, or the start of the game is at 1:30, and it's a must-win game for South Africa. They need to win all their games now going into this World Super League to try and get themselves up the rankings with regards to that, so that they don't have to play qualifiers to get into the World Cup. So today we're going to be doing our preview for the first ODI. I'm looking forward to it. I am excited to see how this team plays under the new regime. They've got a little bit of influence now with regards to from Shukri Conrad, etc. Now him being the interim coach. So I'm looking forward to see what they come up with going into this match. I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited to see some ODI cricket. It's a nice break from the SA20, I would say, to see us play some real cricket, in my opinion. ODI and Test cricket for me is real cricket. For me, T20 cricket is more for fun and games, and it's exciting and enjoyable. But I like to see the longer formats of the game, watch players put in the work to really get going and try and score big. So there's going to be a lot of talk on this show. I'm going to run through the preview, give you guys some insight into the ground, the conditions, etc., because I think that will affect, obviously, selection. And then I'm also going to read out some quotes from the press conference today from Temba Bavuma. He's been getting a lot of hate again on social media for some of the comments that he's made. And I'm going to just read it out to you guys so you guys can hear what he had to say ahead of this match. But before we get going with today's preview, please, there's a couple of things I'd like you guys to do. Please subscribe to this channel if you're new. Click that notification bell for all future videos. Also, don't forget to download the latest issue of Cricket Fanatics magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every single month. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. We are working hard on our Women's World Cup edition ahead of the World Cup in South Africa. So we're going to be bringing you some excellent features, etc., and insight into the women's game. So get subscribing now so you can get the email notification when we go live with the next issue. Also, if you want to help us promote and grow South African cricket, or you want to help us grow this company so that we can promote South African cricket even more, please become a patron today. This is what's keeping this channel alive. Click on the link on the screen or in the description. The link is on the screen or in the description. And you can go directly to our Patreon account. There's different tiers for you, affordable ones and expensive ones. If you guys want to send it to other sponsors or whatever, they can also get involved. There's a sponsor tier as well in that particular section. I'd also like you guys to please smash the like button, comment, and share. That's how we get into the YouTube feeds, etc. So please go ahead and do so that our channel can actually spread with more people and we can get more creation, more subscribers and grow this family on Cricket Fanatics magazine. And if you want some insight to have a read before the games, we have previews, the press conference quotes pieces. I even put up my 11 today and my reasons for why I picked the 11 that I picked. It's all on cricketfanaticsmag.com. So please go ahead and support us there. That's what gets the most views out of all of our platforms at the moment. So please go to cricketfanaticsmag.com. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's preview. A very good evening and welcome to Cricket Fanatics magazine. This is your preview show. I'm your host Khalid, and this is the show where we talk about all the major talking points in South African cricket. But specifically, we're going to be talking about the first T20I between South Africa and England. So let's get straight into today's show. There's a lot to discuss, a lot to get through as well, because there's a lot of things that I did research on going forward into this T20I. So first and foremost, let's just talk a little bit about what is happening with regards to the team. We need to understand conditions. I'm going to bring Kelly on the show as well with me. Welcome to the show, Kelly. I'm just going to give a quick intro before we get into the chatting. So first and foremost, we need to understand Bloemfontein and the wicket. There is a couple of things. I called a couple of players and I asked a couple of experts in the game what we can expect from the actual ground. Obviously not Proteas players, but players that have played at the ground, of course. And I got some insight into what the conditions are going to be like. And so, for what I know about the Mangang Oval, it's the biggest ground in the country. But we also know that it has a reputation for being a good batting wicket. If you go back to our trip to back to the game in 2016 when England scored 399 on the ground against South Africa, we played just one spinner in Imran Tahir, and JP Dumni was our fifth bowling option, and even Farhan Behardine bowled in that game. And England reduced South Africa to about 250 for six by playing two spinners with Moeen Ali picking up 3 wickets in that game. But the game was affected by rain, so I don't really want to read too much into the 39-run DLL method defeat. What we can read into, though, is that Lungin Gidi took 6 for 58 and Imran Tahir 5 for 42 and Yuan Botha 4 for 19. And they are in the top five when it comes to the best bowling figures on this particular ground. The most wickets are shared by Sean Pollock, who has 21 wickets on this ground, and Jacques Callis, which has 12 wickets on this ground. So that tells you a little bit about what type of bowlers have been successful on this type of wicket. Sean Pollock was always known to be, as he got older, to be a more line and length bowler, consistent, etc. And Jacques Callis obviously a medium to fast bowler that really pressured you and trapped you in your crease. So it gives you an insight into what type of bowlers will obviously do well on this particular wicket. In the last game, though, at the Mangang Over, against Australia, South Africa dominated. They picked up two spinner. They picked two spinners in this particular game, and Ngidi took 6 wickets. Noki took two, Shamsi one, and Pichlikwaya one. Maharaj didn't take anything, and they skittled Australia for 271. So overall, it is generally quite a slow wicket with not a lot of bounce. And according to the locals, like I said before, under lights, it tends to get better to bat on as the time goes on. On big grounds and slow wickets, I would probably prefer that the Proteas favor spin and medium fast paced bowlers, of course, who have the ability to make it harder for the batters to obviously clear boundaries and particularly in the power play. So to force them to play those twos and those singles, etc. From a batting perspective, however, we need to select players that know how to manipulate the field and run twos and ones and twos, of course, but also have the ability to hit boundaries when it is needed. So when it comes to my selection, before I get into what Kelly thinks about this particular game, I'm just going to give you some thoughts into my selection going into this. Um, when it comes to averages in the ODI format, Rassi has the highest with 69.3, Kwani 55.6, and Temba 42.94. And they're the best batters that we have in the top order based on average. If we pick up the best top three, then they should go straight into the team. Also, it would be foolish not to select a skipper because I've seen a lot of people saying that Bavuma must be dropped, etc., in this format. And despite that he only has one century and no half centuries in the last 10 matches, I still believe that it would be foolish to drop him, being the captain. And dropping Rassi for me is completely out of the question. He has scored 2 centuries and two half centuries in the last 10. It's not logical to me to drop him. When it comes to Rassi and Temba, they're good runners between the wickets, which is very crucial on these big grounds, especially in Bloem. If we lose the cock early on, it will be crucial for them to be able to take the team forward, run hard between the wickets, and get the team back into a good position. Look here, guys, I am well aware that Giannaman has scored 129 not out in the last match at the ground against Australia and helped Issa Cruz to a 6 wicket win. But given his troubles against spin and swing, it's risky for me. Seeing that the rain in Bloem was on the last 2 days, there was a heavy rain in Bloem, and it could mean that there would be some overcast conditions maybe tomorrow. And swing and spin conducive conditions are likely, particularly in the first innings. Um, but also, Yanaman's recent dip in form, which only saw him score 1.5 century in the last 10 games, also played a part in my non selection of the player. Okay. So that's my thoughts of me not selecting him. I will reveal my team very, very soon. If you want to transition into attacking brand of cricket, however, it's important that we pick a middle order of Aiden Markram, Heinrich Klaassen, and David Miller because they are our most attacking batters in this particular squad. I also believe in having an extra bowling option, and that's why I would go with Aiden Markram, despite his record in ODI cricket. But yet his form has been on the rise. So he scored two half centuries in the last 10 games, and then 2 games before that he scored a 91, I think it was. So he is on the rise with regards to with his um his performances as well. Welcome to the show as well, Ongama. I'll get you guys very, very soon. Um, when it comes to the when it comes to the number 7 position, okay, I'm a little bit biased over here because coming off the back of winning the ICC Men's Emerging Player of the Year, I would go with Janssen, particularly because of his batting. He's been in incredible form in the SA20 and for in recent tests for South Africa. Yes, Parnell has more experience, but I believe that Marco has the mental strength to handle the pressure because he's showed that he's a big player under pressure, and he doesn't really seem to be bothered by that. You saw him in the Test series against England; he was phenomenal when he did get a chance to play, and in other Test matches as well. He also provides more pace, a little bit more pace than Parnell. Although I do feel that Parnell can be dangerous with regards to his like variations that he brings and his Yorkers, etc., and obviously his experience. Personally, when it comes to the bowlers and the fast bowlers, I feel that KG deserves a little bit of a rest. I understand that people want to play him because this is a must win game. So I can see them why they would pick him over someone like obviously Lungingiri. But I think that Nokia's extreme place will obviously be a threat. So I will go with Nokia. And while Lungingiri was very successful in Bloom during the last outing, like I said, he took 6 for 58 on this ground. Um, and I think on this type of wickets with big boundaries, etc., his slower balls and his change ups could be crucial for the team. And when it comes to the spinners, there's only really two to pick from, so the spinners kind of pick themselves. So I'm going to reveal my team and what I selected um, for this particular ODI. I'm obviously there's a preview as well from Ongama on the show. I mean on the website. So I'm gonna let him obviously give you some insight into that. But now I'm going to reveal my ODI 11 and what I think should be the team heading into this particular match. So I've gone with um first and foremost I've gone with oops, this is the wrong one. I've gone with Temba Bavuma, Quentin de Kock, Rassi van der Dussen as your top three. Then with Aiden Markram at four, Heinrich Klaassen at five, and David Miller at six. Then I've gone with Marco Jansen at seven, Keshav Maharaj at eight, Lungin Giri at nine, Anik Nokia, and Tabraish Shamsi at 11. So that's my picks. That's my little preview heading into this particular match. Let me first get into the comment section, people, before we get into the actual um, callers and what they have to say on the show. I'm just going to try to read from the top. I heard somewhere that Temba was saying he's ready to for qualifiers. That's a poor mentality. Great Temba presser at that moment. Great presser with Temba at the moment. It must have. It's a must win. For also winning first match is more important because that sets the tone and decreases the pressure. If we lose, then pressure increases, and we know that happens with pressure at the moment. When Rob comes as a full-time coach, ask him about Faf's, what his situation is, ready to bring him in, etc. Temba should be getting criticism. He's still struggling to win games as a captain, and we find ourselves in a position where we might have to play qualifiers to get into the World Cup. Khalid, why Bavuma is reluctant to leave the captaincy. So I'm going to read out some comments from Temba Bavuma quickly, and give you guys some insight into what he had to say. Of course, he did. So basically, from my perspective, from being at the presser as well, that's why I haven't done a reaction with you guys about the presser because I watched it this time around. I'm going to reveal to you right now what Temba had to say. Let me just share that screen with you. Okay, cool. So this is what Timba had to say. Um, con- Conversations were had with the relevant people. I'm still in it, and I've said that to the guys, if they want me to lead, I'm happy to do so. I've never made it about me. It's always been about the team. And whenever the team hasn't performed well, I've always tried to shield the guys. If the team wants to go in a different direction with a different leader, I'm happy to step away. So please, guys, when you read these headlines, when you listen to what journalists have to say, etc., they tend to like not give always the full truth, or sometimes they post the story online and they make the headline something specific to draw people in, but then people don't actually go in and read it. They just comment in the comment section and have a go and bash instead of reading the full comment. So I'm reading it to you today so that you don't make that mistake. Ultimately, it's up to the coach, and he'll have his vision and need someone to drive that vision. However, at the moment, the coach has entrusted me with a role in the 50 over stuff. and I'll continue doing my best. And unfortunately, I've got a bench of guys that support me. So I guess for me, it's business as usual. So that's what he had to say about the captaincy. Um, so that's what you guys can read into it however you want to, etc. But yeah, that's my thought. Um, Akshay is saying, judge, let's not judge them for now. Let's discuss after the final ODI. Khalid, not okay with Maharaj in white ball cricket. Why not Bloemfontein? I agree with you, bro. I would go with the same thing. Um, I would go with the same thing if I had to repick. Um, Bavuma is just not a T20 player. I agree. I would drop Bavuma in T20 cricket and pick a new captain. But in ODI cricket and possibly even in Test cricket, I would go with Temba Bavuma. I mean, he's been pretty consistent and one of our best batters in those two formats. So before I get into the comment section again, guys, I please urge you guys to listen to what the callers have to say, our panel has to say, and then comment accordingly so that we can actually, that I don't lose your comments. I will make a time at the end of the show to read out your comments as well and interact with you guys once the call is left. So let's start with Ongama. Ongama, you've done a preview of this particular match. What's your thoughts going into this match, bro?
Yeah, hi Khalid, hi guys. Yeah, for me, I really liked Temba's positivity, during the press conference itself, because it was very clear that he was deciding to look at the positives with regards to the situation that the ODI team has found themselves in. Because at the end of the day, if you've won only 5 games out of 16 ODI games, you are in a very bad position, sitting at 11 in the ODI Super League log standings. So there's nothing much that you can do or change about that. So I like the fact that Temba um, is deciding. Temba and the whole team actually are deciding to look at the positive, which is the reality of the Zimbabwe qualifiers. So we know that it's almost unavoidable that we are going to go to Zimbabwe. So how about we take a positive look and say that maybe this is going to give us enough time to actually solve the major problem that we've had, which is the method and the identity of the ODI team. So I really like that and enjoyed that about the press conference itself. Yeah, that's my 2 cents just on that little bit part of the press conference. Do you want me to go into into my preview as well?
Yes, I would like to. And guys, if you want to read it, it is on cricketfanaticsmag.com. It's on the screen right now. I've put it up here. See, posted by Ongama over here. And just to show you guys the log that Ongama was talking about, this is where we sit right now, 11th on the table. It's quite embarrassing, but it is what it is. Ongama, give us some thoughts into your preview and your approach, as well as the 11 that you predict would play and the reasons for picking that.
Yeah. So I think the fact of the matter is that Riza Hendricks has only played 2 ODI games in 2022, and out of those 2 innings is got like in one innings he's got 73 runs, in Ranchi, and I think was like top scorer in that game for the Proteas. So if with the mentality that Temba has clearly portrayed, that the qualifiers is a reality. We're going to use this to give guys opportunities. So why not give someone like Riza Hendricks an opportunity to actually like continue with that good form that he showed out of those 2 ODI games that he's played in 2022. And also, if you look at his domestic numbers, they're not that bad either. They've won the One Day Cup with the Lions. So I think Riza Hendricks at the top of the order, purely because Yanama Malan is struggling at the moment, even domestic cricket as well, domestic T20 and 50 over stuff. So I'd give, I really think that someone like Riza Hendricks will get an opportunity based on what Temba was saying. And I know that a lot of people see Rasif van der Dusen's name missing out of this 11, and the reason I think chances that it's going to miss out is because Rasi is one of those guys. When you go to the World Cup, is those guys that are going to feature into the 11 straight away because he's our best batter in the ODI format. So we already know that about Rasif van der Dussen. He's got his ODI game figured out. We know the role that he can play. So why not give other guys opportunities? So that's why I have someone like Heinrich Klaassen in that 11. In that number 4 spot, in that number 5 spot. Rather. So yeah, and another inclusion or perhaps exclusion of Wayne Parnell. I think Marco Jansen and Wayne Parnell going forward, we might see those two guys playing together in the 11 in the future of ODI cricket in South Africa when it comes to the Proteas. So particularly with this ODI series, I think maybe Marco Jansen will get a nod ahead of Wayne Parnell. Purely just for exposure and for Marco Jansen to actually show us what is made of in the ODI format as well. So yeah, just like the information that I've gathered from the press conference itself, and just my general thoughts on the squad and the first ODI itself.
That's awesome, Ongama. I mean, please, guys, please go read his piece. He gives some insight also into the conditions, like I did with my piece on the ODI 11 that I would pick. So I'm gonna go over to Kelly now. I think a lot of people in the comment section will be interested to see what you think.
I've already probably said plenty. Sorry, it's very hot here today. I saw a comment you made about a comment about Wayne Parnell also being an option up the order. And
I never made that.
It wasn't you. Somebody did.
No, Lubabalo did. I saw on Twitter. Yeah.
Lubabalo did. Yes, it was. And I have seen him up there before. He batted there for the Cobras and he made runs. And it's not something that you do often, but it's just an option that you can have in a ground like the at Bloemfontein, or where it's big. You need to run threes, you need to run twos, you need to not rely so much on your big hitters. You need batsmen who can play, a little more than a hack to, leg side or just over long on, if you know what I mean. A lot of the tail enders tend to have that habit, whereas Wayne Parnell can play all around the wicket. So he could be an option batting up the order if the situation requires. That's why I regard him as such a useful player to have in the side. Not only because of that, but also then because of his experience. But I think I actually gave my 11 yesterday. But the other trick we missed is not having Linda. Because the statistics in Bloemfontein indicate that the most successful bowlers don't include slow left armers, offies, and your leg break bowlers, and your leg spinners, wrist spinners. Sorry. So Shamsi would be my inclusion, but Maharaj didn't take wickets there last time, so I'm wondering, is there any point in bowling him? Would you not rather continue with your paceman, and if you do need a few overs of spin, you can try Aiden, but then again, it's slow left arm. And the whole discussion that you were having was leaning towards a player like Stubbs, where you have a part-time off spinner. It'd be the same with the Donovan Ferreira. You can bat down the order, rotate the strike, run threes, and then also offer you an off-spinning option. I think playing a slow left armer might not be as useful as playing, say, a Linda, where you'd have two middle order, all-rounders, fully fledged.
And that's why I think that playing Aiden Markram is so important.
Yeah. Having the option is important. That's probably why, and you've probably noticed how much I admire Maharaj as a player. But he's not bowling well, and I don't think his head's in the right place. He just doesn't look himself. I just don't think I hope he proves me wrong, but I'd rather go in with Shamsi. I'd trust the bowling of Aiden Markram. Open up with Quinny and Bavuma. I'd leave Yanaman for a little bit later. You can keep Wayne as an option for a floater, but then I like the idea of Rassi van der Dussen not playing because he has shown form. But then there's also the problem of Rassie van der Dussen having been injured and coming back and playing people like Simon Harmer very badly when the World Cup is in India. So I'm a bit torn there. So I might include Rassie van der Dussen because he needs to have a nice long innings.
Mm.
And even if that means moving Miller down the order, KG will not play for me.
Yeah, I actually agree on that one. I think for me, KG needs some time off. He's been playing so much cricket recently. Ongama, your take on on what Kelly had to say?
Yeah, just one clarification on the Rasif van der Dussen Heinrich Klaassen point that I made earlier. You know, I'm not suggesting that Rassi shouldn't play at all in this series, or maybe during the qualifiers as well. You know, but like at least let's use some of the games to give other guys a chance to have a go and bet. You know, so Rassi will get to the World Cup with some game time under his belt. You know, but at least we need to know what other options we have. You know, what other approaches we can employ in India if we get there. You know, so another point that I want to comment on what Kelly just said right now is the Keshav George Linde discussion. It's a great one. I think we all see the growth that George Linde has had over the past couple of months in white ball cricket. You know, but the one thing that I don't want us to forget is that Keshav Maharaj, when he first got that call up, he had done the work. He blew everyone away in the One Day Cup domestically. You know, as a captain. You know, and I think they shared that One Day Cup with the Warriors that season, the season that actually got him to the ODI side as well. You know, but he really hasn't come off. You know, Keshav Maharaj off late in One Day cricket as well as Test cricket. So I just don't want us to forget that the guy has had the numbers domestically. You know, he had done the work, he had the results going into his selection into the ODI side. But maybe it wouldn't have hurt the Proteas ODI team if we had George Linde in the side as well, because I feel
Yeah.
like the huge issue with Maharaj, more especially if you have a strike bowler like Tabraz Shamsi, is that you are going to need someone who's going to dry up one end, not necessarily take wickets. But
Mm.
the main thing is the batting. He hasn't really showed us what he can do, and we all know his potential, and we all know the hard work and the improvement that he's had over the past couple of months across all formats, actually, especially Test cricket. I mean, him and Marco Jansen were saving us in so many Test matches, England and in Australia as well. So I feel like George Linde has grown a lot, and that's what I like, man. That's what I feel South African cricket needs. It's guys that gonna understand that, for me to get into the Proteas team, I need to do better. I need to do way more. That guy that is probably in my position in the national setup, and that's what George Linde has done and proved even in the SA20 competition the past 2 weeks. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I think.
you guys know that I prefer Bloemfontein, but but I don't mind George Linda at all because I'm a big fan of George as well and the personality that he is. Kelly, I'm going to ask you a question quickly. So if you dropped Maharaj, say for tomorrow's game, is that's an opportunity then to play the two all-rounders? I've seen the Bailey brothers also favor that decision. Is that something that you're leaning a little bit more towards? And then I also want you to give your final thoughts ahead of this game, and then Ongama after that. You're muted. Kelly, you're muted. Kelly, you muted. I can't unmute you. Sorry.
Sorry. Oh no, I'm a bit of a mess. Yeah, it's just that playing guys like Marco Jansen and Aiden Markram and Klaassen will ensure that we can at least compete with the firepower that England does have in their batting lineup, because they do have a powerful batting lineup and it is a big ground. So we also need to be able to compete with them with the bat as well as the ball. And that's also now right down the order, because they also bat right down the order. So so going in with Parnell, who could potentially be somebody who could rotate the strike in the middle of the overs when things start to get a little bit stagnant, could potentially be a match winner. I mean, you can run plenty of threes in Bloemfontein by just steering spinners around. It's a 50-over game. You don't have to you don't have to be in a rush. That's just an option. And I know Lebabalo has seen it before, and I saw it before with the Cobras, but I've seen it before with Wayne at EP. He was much younger. Yeah. But I mean, I'm suggesting now, just looking at the situation, and it's the opposite of a pinch hitter. You sort of send him in if you've lost a wicket and things look very tight. You want to get a runner ball. You want someone to run the first hard and get a second. You just want to take the pressure off immediately. You don't want to sit there on naught, like Riley before he makes his first run. It's just a mindset sort of thing. It gives you an option. And I have a feeling that Maharaj, as much as I rate him, and I think that his place in South African cricket is incredibly secure, because he hasn't got an equal insofar as all-around bowling is concerned, in terms of statistics and in terms of his contribution to South African cricket. Overall, he's a fantastic ambassador. But as far as control goes, George Linde's probably the only slow left armer other than Fontaine. But then Linde, I've seen do it more often in the One Day Cup. You can hold up the other end if Shamsi is going to get the wickets. I don't know if Aiden can hold up an end for 10 overs. 4, maybe 5. And we are missing a slight trick. It might have been a good idea to actually use an off spinner instead. But our off spinners are quite raw. I can't think of any that are immediately ready for the Proteas side. So it would have to be somebody who bowls offies as a pastime bowler, which is not really the point. There's nobody in this side, so we have to work with what we've got.
I mean, I've even seen people say that Rija should bowl.
Look, Risa has bowled, and the dibbly dobblers can get you wickets on those long boundaries. We used to call it buying it with pie and coke. You just toss it up, and really, it's a legitimate way that some of the batsmen used to get guys out with a bit of a golden arm.
Yeah.
It's just, I just think we're missing a trick with no off spinner, but then I can't think of anybody who'd be ready for the side.
Yeah.
But I just think our best slow left armer on a pitch that doesn't quite suit slow left armers would be Linde, because he's been able to do it basically anywhere. But that being said, the last thing I do want to say is also I'm a bit dismayed at the Temba hate. I wrote quite a long thread about it. I admire him immensely for how honest he was in that interview. And I hope you don't mind if I swear.
No, I don't mind.
And repeat his quote there. But he said, it doesn't matter what we have to do to win. Even if it's that stupid thing, referring to baseball, or even if we have to block the shit out of it.
Mm-hmm.
This is a man who was humiliated by CSA. He was scapegoated. He was put in front of the media by Enoch and Gray and asked questions about selection he had no knowledge, no real, no true impact on. People made it all about him when selection could have been tossed up between a number of different guys. It's not, and he kept coming back. He came back with an honest interview that expressed how much it meant to him to play for South Africa. And that's the kind of person you want to play for your country. And yet people in the comments, they're saying they hope he fails before he even bats. And then the worst thing about that is you underestimate the effect of strength in a player on transformation in the future. Because Temba, as a man, keeping his head and continuing to come back is going to mean a lot to somebody in the future. and it's going to mean a lot to somebody after that.
Mm-hmm.
It's better than having a guy walk in who maybe doesn't feel like batting that day, like Quinton, or maybe makes a naught instead of 100, or doesn't fight for his wicket, or has a brain fart, or doesn't, feel like running properly, just feels like scoring boundaries. Doesn't play for the team, plays for individual knocks. People fail to notice what an ambassador he was. All they took was the bad. And, the bad isn't actually about him because it's a team sport. And he's not the only one who failed.
Kelly, you couldn't have said it better than that. Ongama, your final thoughts made of this game? No sound, bro.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I lost you there for a second, but yeah, 100% agree with you, Kelly. With Temba and the whole treatment that he's been getting. Yeah, I want to dive straight into someone like Quinton de Kock. We all know the potential that Quinny has shown over the years. That's I just feel like he's let up a little bit over the past while in ODI cricket. So it's about time for him to actually cash in on the runs and start scoring big hundreds again. So that's the one thing that I'm really looking forward to when it comes to this ODI series and betting in Bloom. He has a great opportunity for him to get some runs in. Kelly, I see you saying something over there.
No, I just said it's almost a freebie for him. I mean, it's not a ground that's too big for him to hit the ball out of. But Quinton is a player that I am continuously annoyed with, and it's basically because of his body language. And you can see it when he plays for DSG. It's just some days he just doesn't feel like being there. It's like, you're deciding on your game plan while you're having a fishing trip with Lance, and then you forget all about it when you catch something. It's just a stupid. It's an annoyance, and I'm pretty sure people can see it when he bats and when he's keeping. He just looks disinterested. I'd rather a player with less ability but more heart.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like Quinny has always been one of those laid back individuals, but I think he's taken it a little bit too far when it comes to the SA20 and his recent form. The one thing that I fear for him is that he's got a potential to be one of the greats, and he's not cashing in on the runs right now. So I really want to see him. I really want to see him start scoring those 170s that we saw 2016 against Australia. And actually like put a mark on the side, man, as a senior player. So yeah, that's the one guy that I'm gonna be closely keeping an eye on in this series as well. Someone like Temba, I know is averaging 40. That's another guy that has a huge potential in this format. He's got some good form coming from Australia, a beautiful rest. I feel like he really needed. We saw him on Instagram taking pictures at the beach. He hasn't watched a lot of T20 cricket as well, SA20. So I feel like he's refreshed. It's another chance for him to score big here. So those two guys for me, as far as the playing unit is concerned, is they two big guys for me. I'm not worried about David Miller. He's in a form of his life. 100 Klassen as well, in a form of his life as well. So yeah, from a betting point of view, that's a couple of things that I wanted to say. But from a bowling point of view, I think we are very solid on that side. Lungi should be very effective with his variations and Bloom. But the one thing I don't want us to forget is that we are playing the world champions. So these guys are gonna come at us. They're not gonna give us a free ride.
Yeah.
And my final point, on the Kesha of George Linda thing. Another thing that we've seen so clearly as far as Test cricket is concerned is that there's a huge gap, guys, between domestic cricket and international cricket. So just because a guy is performing domestically, he might get taken apart in India in the World Cup itself. So that's another thing that we have to bear in mind. And what good does it do for a side and maybe for Keshav Maharaj as well to back him for such a long time when he hasn't really been getting the results, and then a couple of months before the World Cup you drop him. So what good does that do for the team and for Keshav? I'm all for bold decisions, but that's just something else that we need to take into account.
Look, I think Keshav is a player that was backed for completely the correct reasons, because considering the fact that we've got such a strong seam attack, he actually hasn't bowled in 30% of the test matches that he's played, in something like that. As of a certain point, in 30% of the tests that he played, he hadn't bowled a single ball. Because South Africa had won by innings. That was when he had first been starting out, and we had an ATG lineup and a bowling attack that would just rip you to pieces. And as he came into his own, he became one of the more threatening bowlers in the world. And you can't call somebody who has Baba Azam as his complete bunny in Pakistan unsuited or unproven at test level. And I don't think George Linder. I'm not going to say George Linder is there at test level, and I'm not ready to replace Kesh at test level, because for me, it's not just him as a player, him as a bowler, it's also him as a player. He came out with all the wickets and all the runs against Bangladesh by himself. You don't drop a player from a test championship after that series, where it was just him and the others all went off to the IPL and he stuck around. It's an important thing that sort of attitude is an important thing to consider, because test cricket especially is a game played best when there's a good chemistry in the team. And that's why I like Temba's honesty. There were no pretenses. It wasn't like Dean's last press conference when they spoke, where you mentioned lack of experience or mistakes or, not applying yourself. He spoke bluntly and he said exactly what they needed to do, which is, the basics in the situation as they face them. They can't tell you what they're going to do now because they don't know what England's going to do to them. He just said they're prepared to face whatever's coming, which is exactly the right approach. And I think that the reason why he can say this in this format is because he feels comfortable. He wasn't made comfortable in T20s because he's not a T20 player. And people are still doubting that. And I'm not saying you're questioning his position. I'm saying people need to stop questioning Temba as a valuable player and as a human being.
Yeah.
I've
made this point a couple of times on this show. I said you can criticize players by all means. Go at their ability, go at how they're playing, go at the particular results. But to go after a human being for other things that's non-related to his performances is just purely ridiculous. I mean, you guys, I know some people in the comment section are saying no, but people are not complaining about him in ODIs. Actually, they are. If you go to Facebook and you look at our comment section and you go look at the articles that we've written and see the abuse that Temba gets on social media, etc., it's absolutely ridiculous. The guy actually had to switch off his phone, turn away from social media to avoid all of these things that have been said about him. I wonder how you guys would feel if you're sitting over there and getting hate comments every single day of your life. I know I get a couple of hate comments now and again, and it does affect me sometimes. And I've had to learn how to actually deal with that and tell myself not to react to them, because there's a lot of trolls that sit on their couch and eating chips and watching the game and expect and act like they know the game when they don't really know much about the game. I'm seeing people mixing up formats, saying that Riza Hendrik should be playing in the ODIs because he's been doing well in T20s. They are completely two different formats. You approach the game differently, completely. So we can't be messing up formats and mixing up formats when it comes to certain things like this. I'm going to give you guys your final points before we say bye. Kelly, have a go, and then Ongama finish off.
Yeah, I'm hoping for a more. I'm hoping first of all for a win. Some clinical combinations and performances. Something clinical at the top, or at least decent partnerships in the middle, some sort of clear role playing in the side, and a game plan for once, some structure, some discipline, and doing the basics right. And then I want to see them play some cricket that is actually brave. Even if each player just takes an inch beyond his comfort zone, it's a start. Because this is the first game of a new reign, new era. And most of these players are going to be playing for their position in the World Cup year. I want to see them take the attack to England, but I don't want to see them be reckless. I want to see them show England that, poorer as we may be, we can play smarter cricket than they can. It's possible. There's no reason why those players can't win. There isn't. People often treat statistics as everything, but the impossible has happened so often that it can throw it out the window. I mean, the 438 game, how did that happen? How did we chase down 414 in Australia in the fourth innings to win our first test in the first series win there since readmission? How did we beat the West Indies in the whitewash in 1997? Impossible happens in cricket, even if you don't think you have the players to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But you actually have to believe in those players. I mean, they're not going to go out there and perform well if they've got fans who don't respect them as human beings. That's the thing that's most disappointing for me. I have a serious problem with it.
Awesome.
So basically, that's my last
thing,
is just to respect the players that go out there, because that team has been chosen on performance, and they have performed in the past. They have the goods, they can beat them, and they deserve to be treated with respect. Criticize them about cricket, but don't wish ill on them before they even start batting. You can't call yourself a fan.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead and Ongama, let's sign off with you.
Yeah. So those are great words there, Kelly. In terms of being optimistic and belief and all those things, but it's a bit difficult for me to jump on that train as much as I'd like to, but it's a bit difficult for me, when you have someone like Temba clearly saying that we're going to Zimbabwe, so that's the sort of mentality that I have when it comes to this series. I'm looking at it and from a perspective of, what, the results don't matter. Let's just build in such a way that we qualify, via Zimbabwe. So that's the only thing that I'm looking for when it comes to this series. Effort, not results necessarily for me, because I mean, from where I'm sitting from the press conference, it looks like the Proteas ODI team has accepted that, what, Zimbabwe is a reality. So that's it for me. I just want to see effort. I want to see energy. I want to see proper application. And yeah, that's it for me, Khalid.
Okay, thanks guys for joining the show. I'll chat to you guys
Thanks
again
so
on the
much.
review show. Yeah, we'll chat again on the review show after the game. Let's see what happens tomorrow.
Hopefully it'll be a good one.
And hopefully it's not another rant for me. Thanks, guys. Excellent points that you
I
made.
made the rant this time. See you
Thanks,
guys next time. Bye.
See you. Bye. Okay, let's get back into the comment section and read some of the stuff that you guys are saying. So I'm just going to start here at the top that I have available for the top. Every one of those players are in the shop window now. They are additioning to Rob Walter and selectors for the way forward. So plenty to play for. 100% I agree with you. Relinquish his captaincy. I don't know what you're talking about because I didn't see the above comment. If there was a book with a name, How to Get Knocked Out of a World Cup in Different Ways Every Time, then SA would be the author of it. Aniket, I've seen you just complain about South Africa the whole time and say how we're hopeless and blah, 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 and that cricket's dead, etc. Then why are you supporting a South African cricket channel? I mean, then you're just putting yourself through torture. I don't know what you're trying to achieve with all these negative comments. South Africa is going to be resetting soon. Not right now. I've explained that yesterday on what is going down like with that. And I just don't. I mean, I don't agree with the way your approach is, because then if someone has never achieved something in life and has always been unlucky in something and hasn't achieved in life, then they must all just give up and become losers. Ultimately, you're going to have to put your best foot forward. The other countries also have a major head start on South Africa with regards to their cricket and developing their players, etc. South Africa was suppressed for many, many years, and a lot of people in our country were stopped or prevented from playing the sport in the first place. So there's a lot of catching up to do with regards to South Africa, and I'm pretty proud of the South Africans and the way they've approached the game and given it their best shots, regardless of what has happened in apartheid before. The fact that they've come to most World Cups since then and put on a fight and showed that they tried to win it is the same thing for me. I mean, with regards to I don't know who you support with regards to cricket. But I mean, we can't necessarily compare South Africa to the rest of to England, Australia, and India with the amount of money that is pumped into the game in those countries and into development of players in those countries. We are far behind when it comes to that, and we need to compete as best as we can and give it our best shot. And as long as players are putting all of what they have on the field, that is all that I worry about for now, until we build a new team that has a winning mentality again and can really push for the World Cup again. In a World Cup, anybody can win in a final. You guys have seen that against England. New Zealand deserved to win that final, in my opinion, the way they played that game. I mean, England got quite lucky in that super overs to get the win in that match. So there are many times in games where you see teams that everybody thought would win didn't, like in T20 cricket World Cup, in the T20 World Cup. India, I mean, they failed in both. They should, with the amount of money they pump into T20 cricket every single year with the IPL and how much money they get back, and now investing into the South African League and getting money from that, they should be winning every single T20 World Cup. But it doesn't happen that way. And that is just the reality of cricket. Anything can happen on the day. Unfortunately, that is just how it is. Lawrence says Ongama results doesn't matter. Sorry if our players have that mentality, then a bit then burn the series. I don't understand what you're saying there. Why can't these comments pop up for some reason? Okay, I don't know what's going on over here. I see a comment over here. Tony deserves to be in the squad. I do believe that. But I explained on yesterday's show the reasons for the selection of the squad. First and foremost, our white ball coach is not in the country. They actually only officially start their jobs on the 1st of February. So Shukri is actually but that I don't know what happened there with regards to the. I don't know what happened there with the Wi-Fi, with the load shedding, everything that's happening. But like I was saying with regards to Rob, he's not in the country, and Shukri is actually going above and beyond to do this. So what we're going to be, what they and a lot of these players are centrally contracted. I've explained this on yesterday's show and the previous shows to explain that these players need to be picked. Ongama results don't matter because of the mentality, exactly like the teams like Netherlands knocked us out from the World Cup. Results do matter, in my opinion. I don't necessarily agree with that point. Results are important. And Temba didn't necessarily say that we are definitely, there is a possibility of that happening, and you can't shy away from the truth that if that could happen. He said as well that his mentality is to go in and win this. So he said both. He's being realistic about the situation and open and honest with us. We've always asked our coaches and our players to be open and honest with us, and that's exactly what we are doing. Khalid, are you going to do a magazine on the Proteas Women 2023 2020 World Cup campaign? Yes, the next magazine is exactly that. It's the Women's World Cup edition. How successful is SA20 South Africa? Can it beat the popularity of its domestic rugby tournament? At the moment, we don't necessarily have a domestic rugby competition necessarily. Okay, we have the Currie Cup, which isn't so popular, but if you're talking about like our Super Rugby, etc., Super Rugby does sell out as well, but the SA20 has sold out almost every single stadium. All the 530 games have been sold out. Obviously, the 1:30 games or the 1 o'clock games in the afternoon in the week is difficult for people to go to because it's obviously during working hours. But all the 5:30 games have been sold out. So I think it's going to be very successful from the fans that I've spoken to. I'll be going to Joburg soon, cross fingers to cover the Joburg leg of the SA20. I'm crossing fingers that the flights get sorted out. And then I'll be going to that and getting an opportunity to understand what it is like in Joburg, in Pretoria, and what the fans are thinking about the tournament there. So I'll be bringing you daily shows behind the scenes when I go back to the SA20 again, and not these live shows because obviously the games end late and I won't be able to do that. Um, so was a popular team. SA was a popular team back in the time, but now hardly anyone apart from South Africans talk about them because we are going to support them. So I don't understand, bro, why you are here talking about South Africa if you don't give a shit about South Africa. Then rather just leave. I don't understand what your point is and what you're trying to achieve over here on the channel. Khalid, in the interview with you and Shukri and the presser yesterday, Shukri did state that the squad was selected along with Rob Walter. So he didn't. He did say it. So he did have a say in selection. Selected along with Rob Walter. Did state that the squad was selected along with Rob Walter. So he did. He didn't have a full say in selection. He did say in my interview with him that Rob speaks the squad and the selectors speak the squad. He said that he has a say in selection of the 11. That's what he said. But with regards to the squad that was selected, he didn't have a say with regards to the squad that was selected. So that's the specific. Sometimes we mix it up because they say 11 and 15, but he has a choice to select the 11 and what the 11 is going to play on the field tomorrow. That's what he said. Khalid, I have a feeling that Shabnam Ismail and Marazan Kap are going to retire at the end of this World Cup. I wonder if CSA has a succession plan. I'm sure they do. We have got a lot of talented players in our teams in the domestic setup. I mean, we've got some great players, I think, that are coming through the system all around the country. There are a lot. I mean, I'm not going to name all of them right now because I might feel like I'm going to leave someone out. But Elise Marie Marks is a nice option. I think as an all-rounder as well. Dirksen is also a very good option as well as an all-rounder as well. We've got some youngsters like Madison and Reineke that are coming through the system, but they're more spinners. So I do think there's a succession plan, and I think Denisha is very much involved with regards to that. Khalid, whatever Kelly said about Temba, I respect and understand but sadly, the quality of being good a person and sending a message can't bat bowl field in the middle performances. But I understand what you're saying, and you can criticize Temba in T20 cricket, but when it comes to ODI and it comes to 50 over cricket, you can't necessarily go against Temba with regards to that. Like I said, he's the third highest on average in our ODI setup currently in the top order. So it's Rassi, it's Kwani, and him. So with regards to that, I think he's been done pretty well. Aniket, get lost and go with your negativity mindset. Block this guy. Yeah, okay. You've been called out, Aniket. Sorry. Bye. He's been blocked, guys. Problem with SA selectors, they pick the oldest 11 possible every time and don't give the chance to the youngsters, which India and England regularly do. And this is my point, guys. We just want to see people do this. I've said it plenty of times. But for this particular series, we needed to play our best players that we have available right now. Also, these players are contracted, so we must remember that. And Leah Joe, yeah, I'll talk about that later. And I do feel that after this particular series, we need to press the reset button and pick the best players in our country, domestically, who have performed over a long period of time. Guys like Tony DeZorzi need to come back into this team. Need to come into this team. We need to get some youngsters and fresh blood into this team. Tristan Stubbs is another one. Jordan Herman's been doing well, but he's only had one season. But we need to start picking these guys that have been doing well in cricket. Matthew Brzezinski, I think, he has an excellent mentality and is someone that doesn't get talked about enough in South African cricket. But I do believe that Shukri Conrad and Rob will be doing that. They will be they will be doing things in the right way going forward. Based on what I've spoken to Shukri about, I'm waiting for my exclusive with Rob. I'm trying to get it. Also, what I want to know from you guys, if I manage to get Victor Ipmasang on a live. I'm going to try my best to do so. But if I do so, please, guys, just be respectful because I don't have a go at him and start calling him names. I don't think you would do that because I know you guys now for a while now and you have never been disrespectful to any of the guests. But I'm just hoping someone doesn't jump on and starts being disrespectful to Victor because then he'll never want to come on the show again. So ask him good cricketing questions, ask him his reasons behind selection, etc. And I'll try my best to try and get him on after the series. Let me see if it's possible. I will try my best to do so. I had a chat with him about it, and I spoke to him, and he seemed keen after I was finished with my discussion with him. So I'm hoping that he does say yes when I do actually eventually contact him. Lichle says Leah Jones. Yes, Leah Jones is another excellent player that's coming through the system as well. There's still Sarah Smith that needs to come back again and trying to show her skills as well again. There's a lot of players, lot of players that are coming through the system. Bavuma can't feel this. What's your work, How much energy crisis? How much energy crisis in SA affects SA20 viewership on TV? Um, that's an interesting question, actually. It does affect it, I would say, because, but then again, also, it's only broadcasted on SAP on SuperSport anyway, and which is only a small population of the country, really, that actually own that can actually have DSTV and are able to watch it on TV. What is nice about it is that the stadiums are being filled up. So 15,000 people in the stadium, all around the countries. Bar, maybe Boland Park, which is about 7,000. People are getting an opportunity to watch it, but there's also an opportunity to stream if you do have UPSs attached to your Wi-Fi, etc. But this power cutting and everything is causing a lot of issues. It definitely is. It's making my life hard as a streamer to stream things as well. Winning the first match is important, sets the tone. If we lose, the pressure increases, and we know what happens in pressure moments. And you're 100% correct. The first game is very, very crucial. Give the two coaches a few series before judging them. I agree with you, Ruban. Sorry, 100%. I don't understand how people are going after these coaches, calling them useless already. I'm not you guys on this platform. I'm talking about Facebook and Twitter specifically. People are calling them useless already before they even started their contracts. Their contracts only start on the 1st of Feb. So it's mental and crazy. And I don't understand how cricket people can't listen to what Shukri said in my interview and not pick up that this man understands cricket and to understand and to look at his credentials and where he's been at with regards to, and I'll repeat it again, he brought youngsters through like JP Dumini, Werner Philander, etc. at Western Province. He had a very talented team then, won trophies, went to Gauteng B, so he understands the next year. He was SA emerging coach, so he understand. He had Marcus Ackerman and his captain, Rwanda Swat in those teams, etc. And all those group of youngsters, that generation. He's been SAA coach, so he has that generation. He's brought through Heinrich Klaassen and Zubair Hamza and George Linde and all of those guys through the National Academy. So he understands that level. He's been on with a current bunch of under 19 players like Deval Brevis, Matthew Post, George van Heerden, all of these guys, Matthew Copeland, etc. He's been with all of those type of guys as well, brought them through the system, worked with them. So he understands the current generation, the previous generation, the one before that, and the one before that, and even the expert players that used to play the legends that of the game. He understands them too. The Cullises, the Graham Smiths, the Herschel Gibbses, etc. He's been through it all. He's seen everything in cricket, including playing cricket on the white side during apartheid as well as on the colored side during apartheid, understanding both camps. He is probably the one person that understands South African cricket better than anybody in this country with regards to playing, coaching, and the club system. He's even played club cricket. Even to this day, I actually went down to the only time I've ever watched him play was playing for Montrose in an over 50s match. And he dominated there too at the age that he is at against legends of the game that played cricket too in the past. So I've seen this guy's understanding of cricket. I've sat with him in the stands before and listened to him predict certain things as well. Like you would tell me this he's going to go out in the next over or so, and it happens, or and then I'm like, but why would you say that? And I've learned so much just being in his presence and watching cricket with him. Let's move on from that. Also, when you interview Rob, ask about Faf. What about him? I will definitely ask that. Khalid, I think South African media needs to do more to expose women's domestic cricketers. Some people don't know the players. I know that, bro. I try my best to do so. The problem with it is that the whoever organizes the women's games, etc., and organizes their things, a lot of the time it clashes with the men's game. And us as journalists and media have to pick which they're going to cover, and they're going to go naturally. The media is going to go with what gets more clicks and views to the channels, and more views to their websites, etc. So they're obviously going to go with things that are going to get more traction. But me as media, don't think you guys can really say much about us as media. We've done plenty of coverage. We've put women on the front cover of the magazine. I don't see any other magazines in South Africa ever do that. There's never been a woman on a cover in any other magazine publication in South Africa. So with regards to cricket, I mean, we've got a couple of exclusive World Cup editions where we've given traction to women. We've gone to the WSL, covered it fully, done reports, done interviews. I've gone behind the scenes. I'm actually going to even I'm thinking about going down to the Western Province training session to get a behind the scenes there, look at them as well, and get an opportunity there. So I'm trying my best to promote all cricket in South Africa, but I need you guys' help as well. So that's why I ask you guys to please become a patron so I can get more people to specialize in those fields and give more traction to them. And becoming a patron will help that. Vision 2027, yes, I agree. That is Enoch's mindset as well. He says Vision 2027 as well. India and England don't throw away the talented pros once they hit 30, is what you mean. Donovan Ferreira get Donovan Ferreira in the team. I also think in other formats he needs a couple of seasons to show consistency. Our next mag issue will tell a lot of stories on women's cricket. Keep an eye open, please. Yes, Ongama, tell them. England and India do throw their veteran players who don't perform, says Ruban. Ticket prices to England and the Netherlands matches is more than the SA20. Why will people come and see international cricket? It's crazy. I don't understand this. We need to sort out the administration as well in South African cricket, really. FX says Twitter comments, yeah, terrible. Ask Rob and Conrad about young players. Will they come in the squad? I asked Shuki Conrad about that, and he answered it in my interview. So please go watch it and you'll see what he had to say on that. It's excellent, actually, what he had to say. Which older player is not performing? You guys always want youngsters. So what are the pensioners we don't need? You guys can say only Alga. Conrad, first placer, was bullish, good vibes only. I like that he has a little bit of a personality, unlike Boucher. Boucher was so miserable. When you interview Rob, please ask him to not do the same blunders that Mark did with selection. Select form players. Shukri Conrad also mentioned that. And people actually got his words twisted when it came to transformation. He said, yes, you need to back transformation, and it's a responsibility if you take over the South African role, but you also need to pick the players because they're good enough to play. So don't just pick black players for the sake of it, but pick the right black players that are good enough to play. There are enough in our system that are good enough to play. I don't know why we picked the wrong black African players. It's almost like on purpose to show, you see, this is what black players play like, because they're going to fail. And I think that is terrible way to go forward. SA20 need a weekly podcast to expand its reach. Nah, I'm not doing that. We don't get enough exclusive content from SA20. We don't get any access as media. I don't think it deserves me putting so much effort into promoting it on a weekly basis if I'm not going to be getting anything out of the tournament as a media person. I've been doing a lot of content with regards to this and promoting the SA20 a hell of a lot. You can go watch my daily shows that are produced of the games at the grounds. I'm going to Joburg now to cover the Joburg League and to see the other teams, what their experience is like there. I've been promoting the heck out of it and pushing it out because I know the masses watch our channel. With regards to that, I need to promote it more to the masses, and that's the aim. So a weekly podcast on the SA20 might happen in the future, maybe next season, but not this season. With the amount of games that is happening in such a short space, it's almost impossible for me to do it, especially with the time that it's played at. You guys most of you guys won't be wouldn't be able to watch my live show when it comes to the SA20 because it will only start at 10 o'clock if I do the daily show. So I've been doing pre-recorded ones to promote the game. I mean, it's to the extent that Mumbai Indians the Mumbai Indians media manager, as well as the My Cape Town media manager, they allowed me to use the song in one of my promotional videos because they were so happy with the promotions that I'm doing with regards to the videos. So if you go look at the My Cape Town one and the My Cape Town experience video, it has the My Cape Town actual theme song in it, and I had to get it cleared by them to actually allow me to be able to use it because they were so happy with the way I've been promoting the league. So we are doing a job every year. So stay tuned to this channel if you want to see that. Guys, thanks a lot for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Please smash the like button, comment, share, subscribe, click the notification bell for all future videos. Also, what I would like you guys to do is also download the latest issue of Cricket Fanatics magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every month. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. Also, if you want to help us grow, promote South African cricket, all forms of South African cricket, and please get involved with our Patron account to help us also stay alive as a company. We are putting a hell of a lot of work into content on all platforms, our website, our digital mag, as well as on YouTube, and as well as on social media. And we need your guys' help. So please get involved with the Patreon account. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. Also, I would like you guys to please go to cricketfanaticsmag.com. You'll see our previews. You'll see the press conference pieces of Temba Bavuma, Shukri Conrad, exclusive interview with Shukri Conrad, etc., and what he had to say in article form as well, in feature form. And there's also some videos on the channel as well for you guys to watch. It's your everyday hub for cricket in South Africa. Cricketfanaticsmag.com is the place you need to go to. And then also smash the like button, please. A lot of you guys are watching the game and not smashing the like button. So please smash the like button if you can do so. Someone asking me, Khalid, did you really block him? Yes, of course I blocked him. I don't play with people. I'm sorry. Like, if they want to be disrespectful and idiots, they're gonna get blocked. If you're racist, you get blocked. I don't play around with you guys if that happens. So thanks a lot for watching, everybody. And I'll see you guys tomorrow with a review show. Directly after the game is done, we will go live with our review show. I know it's quite late. I mean, Wakas, you can ask your question. Yes, I know it's quite late for you guys, but unfortunately, I can't do anything about the time, and it's impossible for me to do watch-alongs. I've checked, I've done my research on how I can do watch-alongs with the equipment that I have, and currently, it's not possible for me to do so, because my hard drive won't be able to, my computer won't be able to last 4, 5, 8 hours of a game. It's easy to do these watch-alongs with football because they're maximum 2.5-hour streams, but I won't be able to do it for 4 hours, 8 hours without my computer completely crashing. And with a load sharing schedule, that also makes it even harder. So it's almost impossible for me to do so. Khalid, I would like to come on live on your show one day. How can I do that? Okay, so we will be having a call-in tomorrow after the game. All our review shows are fan call-ins where the fans come on the show and give your say. I give my little preview, a review before the game starts, and then you guys are allowed to call in and have your say about the game. So every single review show will be a call-in show for the fans. I try to do that as much as possible. I'll also maybe have a couple of call-in shows where you guys just to come on and ask me random questions about cricket too. I'll do that in the future. That's your ways of coming onto the show as well. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow with a review show directly after the first ODI between South Africa and England. Peace.